It's been over a month since Colorado's won a game, but I do think they have a chance to upset a top 25 team this weekend.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs, everybody. I'm your host, Kevin Borba. We are a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. And we're also ranked as the #1 podcasting network in the business. So thank you guys for making me one of your first listens of the day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Like I said, today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Today, we're going to be talking about Colorado putting Arizona State on upset alert. Number 25 Sun Devils have really not been what we expected this year. Now, granted, Sam Levitt is out for the year, possibly discussing transferring, may end up at Tech, may end up at Miami. Regardless, they're starting Jeff Sims at quarterback. And last time Colorado played against a Jeff Sims-led team, they slaughtered them. We're going to be talking about injuries for this weekend. I do think that Colorado is seeing some guys making some business decisions. And then I also think we're going to see some key players out just due to injury. And then Colorado has a huge list of visitors coming to the game this weekend to see what will be Julian Lewis's first career start in Folsom. So let's talk about upset alert. Now, Colorado, if you guys remember, hasn't won a game since they went on the road, since they hosted Iowa State, number 22 Iowa State at that time, October 11th. The Buffs won 24-17, had a bye week, then were blasted by Utah and Arizona, and then lost a close one to West Virginia a couple weeks ago now. So you're going into the final 2 weeks of the season. You're going into this game as a 7.5-point dog, and Arizona State is very much in the mix for the Big 12 championship. They currently sit at, they're tied for third with, they're tied for third with three other teams. So it's Cincinnati, ASU, Houston, and Utah are all sitting at 5-2 conference play, and BYU sitting at 6-1. And then Texas Tech basically controls their own. They control everything at 7-1. I think they still have room for error, but yeah, it's one of those things where this is a very winnable game for Colorado. You're at home, even though you're not playing for anything other than pride, self-respect, and passion. You still have you should have a little chip on your shoulder, right? Julian Lewis the Julian Lewis era is upon us, and the kid's a hard worker. Coach Prime, and he said this after the West Virginia game, Julian Lewis did. He goes, they asked him what his plans were for the bye week, and he goes, you know what? I'm going to go back to Boulder, and I'm going to watch film. Coach Prime, when he was speaking to the media earlier this week, was like, yeah, the kid watched 9 hours of film on the bye week, stayed in Boulder, got his work in, right? Julian Lewis is the prime definition of a culture builder, and he could be one of the key reasons that Colorado turns things around for years to come. And you just need people to follow him by example. So you have Julian Lewis, who I think played really well against West Virginia with a really bad offensive line performance. You were missing Jordan Seaton, Larry Johnson. You should have both those guys back. But this Arizona State defense, solid, not scary by any means, but I do think Arizona State's weakness is their offense. And I don't think that's a hot statement by any means necessary. Arizona State has one of the worst offensive lines in the country. They've given up 26 sacks on the year. For reference, Colorado, it's crazy to think that this is so much improved for Colorado. They rank 124th in sacks allowed. Now, a lot of those were on the quarterbacks, but Arizona State is not that good at protecting the quarterback. Now, Jeff Sims is a bit more dynamic than Sam Levitt, but we also know Jeff Sims' preferred game is to run. And I think if you force this to really be a Jeff Sims throwing the ball game, I think it would get complicated for him. I think that's where he would get a little bit uncomfortable, because we have yet to see Jeff Sims really win a game because of his arm, right? In both their latest wins, against Iowa State, he ran for 228 yards on 29 carries. This last one against West Virginia, 17 carries for 81 yards. He completed 13 passes one game, 19 in the other, right? The game against West Virginia was his best game of his season so far. And let's be real, West Virginia is not the best sort of litmus test by any means. And so I think Colorado has Arden Walker, they have London Merritt, Alexander McPherson, guys who could get to the quarterback. And if they can contain Jeff Sims, which containing a scrambling quarterback has been difficult at times, I think they could win this game. And I also think the offense for Colorado is going to have a new energy with Juju Lewis behind center, right? Because you still have Amarion Miller, you still have Joseph Williams, you still have Sincere Brown and Quentin Gibson, Quanell. You have all these weapons. And Zach Atkins, which I feel like they've been talking a lot about Zach lately. So I feel like we're going to start seeing a lot more Zach. I think he deserves some more touches. Great getting to know the guy the few times he came on the show. But I think it's a rejuvenated Colorado offense. And for Arizona State, this is the epitome of a trap game. Because you look at, like, they're playing for a lot still. And they have Colorado this week, which I think when a team like Colorado starts going on a losing streak, I think teams start to underestimate them and they go, okay, this is a dub. And they start to look ahead. And this is the classic look ahead game because they finished the season against Arizona's not ranked, but I feel like they should be. They're also 7-3. Arizona's been a very, very solid team this year. They're not great by any means, but pretty good. And Arizona is playing Baylor this week. I think this could be a classic, like Arizona State possibly looks ahead to their in-state rival, and Colorado's like, hey, we're not dead. You could try to kill us, but we're not dead yet. And I think there's a lot of people on this team, whether it be young players or like freshmen or guys who have played smaller roles this year, looking to cement themselves as a key player, as a starter for next year. And these final couple weeks are the prove it games for them. It's like, okay, if you want a key role, show us what you're going to do against Arizona State. So that's sort of my analysis on this. Arizona State turned it over a few times against Iowa State. I do think the hard part is, we'll just put it nicely, neither of these offense lines are that great. It's pretty much going to come down to who can protect the quarterback enough, or which quarterback can make enough plays. And quite frankly, I believe in Julian Lewis more than I believe in ninth-year quarterback Jeff Sims. Like, I just do. I've watched too much Jeff Sims in my life. I think me and Jeff Sims are around the same age, and he's still slinging the rock around in college. So I've seen too much of him. I think he's a really good athlete. I was in the camp that was like, you know what, Jeff Sims, when he was at Georgia Tech in 2020. I guess that was my last year of college, or my last year of undergrad. But when I saw him play, I was like, that guy kind of has it. And then the next year was like, that guy, he's kind of better, kind of still has it. And then injuries, goes to Nebraska, was terrible. And I just feel like he's not a D1 Power 4 level quarterback. I think he has the ability to be an impact player at this level because of his legs, but I don't think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. Probably not even a top half quarterback. He's not even one of the best 8 quarterbacks in this conference. I would just put it that way. Good athlete, can make some plays, but I firmly believe that Julian Lewis is the better quarterback of the two. And when it comes down to teams that I think are pretty evenly, I both like offense line's not very good. Arizona State's defense is better than Colorado's. I trust Julian Lewis to make more plays, and I think Colorado can upset the Sun Devils this weekend. So we'll see if I'm right or wrong. I've projected that Colorado could beat every one of these teams that they played in the last few weeks and they've lost. So let's break the curse. Let's break the streak. We're going to talk about these key injuries, but first, a quick break. This episode of Locked On Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Game Time. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. There's tailgates, there's rivalries, there's energy in the stands, and there's nothing like it. But let's be real, actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. There's endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout, and that's why I use Game Time. It's the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute ticket prices. Last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I pulled up a Game Time, and in just a couple taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking your favorite college football game as low as $25. So what do I like about the app? My favorite part is a seat viewing feature where you can kind of just tilt your phone and it's like, oh, this is what I'd see from the 30-yard line, or this is what I'd see from the second deck, where it's good view, cheap tickets. Sometimes you just got to take advantage of the features, and Game Time has the best features in their app. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the app, the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go download Game Time today. This episode of Locked On Buffs is also brought to you by our sponsors over at Doer. Now, if you're not familiar with Doer, you need to get familiar with Doer. They have the comfiest pants in the game. They have 5 times the stretch as your average pant. They have this comfortability where it almost feels like you're in sweats. And I don't say that lightly. I've got a nice pair of their pants. I went with the black ones, the slim fit ones. Not, I really like it. I do, because I think when you have most jeans, it's like okay, they get a little snug, and with the holiday season coming up, we all want to eat a little extra, and so Doer is an athletic wear. They pioneered they are pioneers of blending technical innovation with everyday clothing. They invented the original performance denim. So Doer makes the world's most comfortable pants without having to sacrifice your style. Go check them out in Denver at 2621 Lemire Street. You could pick up a pair for yourself or as an amazing holiday gift for someone else. Mention my promo code Locked On Denver in store to get 15% off your first order, or check them out online at shopduer.com/locked on Denver for 15% off. That's shopduer.com/locked on Denver. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. I appreciate all of you for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow so you don't miss out on a moment of the coverage. Let's talk injuries. Colorado's injury report, lengthy per usual. That being said, some interesting names are on it. This is what would make me nervous about my prediction for an upset. So let's start with the probables. Hudson Steber, offensive lineman. Don't think he's going to play. In terms of like he's yet to have a role. Questionable. Jordan Seaton, Jeremiah Brown, Makari Vickers. So that seems to me like you're getting Jordan Seaton back. You're getting Jeremiah Brown for he's a Coach Prime guy. This is senior day. May I remind all of you, senior day for the guys that the ones who transferred in, but the ones who came in with Coach Prime from Jackson State or his first class. Like this is the end of an era for them, and Jeremiah Brown is one of those guys. So really sad to see him go. He's the true definition of earning everything that's given to you, because I would say in multiple years he has started the year as a guy far on the depth chart. They don't play him. They don't believe in him. Earns himself some playing time. This year was not a starter. They went with Martavius French. They went with Reggie Hughes. And even last year, I guess he was going to transfer, and he decided not to, and he ended up being a starter. And I would say he's probably the best linebacker on this team. So really great career for Jeremiah Brown. Excited to see what's next for him. I know he's got some off the field goals that he's hoping to achieve, and I hope he achieves those. But for now, everybody should give him a warm, I guess, sending off, if you will, for his final career game at Folsom. Makari Vickers, the Oklahoma corner, has been sidelined for a few weeks now. He's questionable. Excited to see a little bit more of him. He had some good plays against TCU, I think it was, or BYU or TCU, and we haven't seen him really since. Banged up, and I think he needs some redemption because, who doesn't on this team? We also, let's go to the doubtful section. Brandon Davis Swain, key defensive tackle for this team. Hoping Colorado could keep him around because he's a key player. Was a all PFF selection, I guess 2 weeks ago after his performance against West Virginia. He's a guy that continues to grow. Homegrown guy for Colorado. Would you look at that? A guy they recruited that turned out to be really good. Interesting. Larry Johnson, I think I said earlier he was projected to come back. He's doubtful, which means he's probably not going to play. Larry Johnson, right tackle. Big Larry has had some bright moments, some not so bright moments, which has been pretty on par for this team as a whole. But I think getting Jordan Seaton back is a big deal for Julian Lewis because Jordan Seaton is an automatic, like nobody's getting by him. The right tackle spot, I think you can mix guys in now and see whether it's a Kareem Harden or whoever else. Like you could Yaya Atia if he wants to swing out there. You have so many options where you could go a right tackle. Montrez Walker, the interior freshman linebacker, doubtful. Carter Stottmeyer, doubtful, which means we'll get to see Byard, Finiseth, possibly. No, Finiseth, excuse me, not Finiseth. He's out as well. You'll probably get to see the Auburn transfer over there as well. And then the out crew, you have Tafiq Thomas, defensive tackle, Amari McNeil. That's not great. Amari McNeil is really good. And he's been a guy that I think Colorado's leaned on heavily in the interior. Camden Dempsey, long snapper. Sad. Very sad. And then Ben Finiseth. Both of those guys are original buffs, so tough to see them not be able to play. Which, granted, Ben Finiseth did announce he's coming back next year, so that's exciting for those of you that really like him. He's a fan favorite, and he's going to be back. DJ McKinney and RJ Johnson are both out. RJ Johnson has been pretty much out of the lineup for the entire year, it feels like. And DJ McKinney, this is interesting timing. I hope DJ McKinney's back next year in Boulder. I think he has another year of eligibility. I don't think that this was his best year by any means. I think really for any of these corners, I feel like the secondary as a whole took a step back, and it's not fair to sort of pinpoint anybody else. Yeah, he's a junior, so he could come back. But after a year that saw him record 3 interceptions, 61 tackles, and 8 pass deflections, this has not been the coverage year for DJ McKinney that we've seen, or excuse me, that we were expecting. He was a projected first-round pick at one point, and now ESPN released their top 10 rankings for the draft, and he was nowhere to be found. So DJ McKinney is plummeting down draft boards. I hope that Colorado can retain him. I hope that he comes back. I hope that he gives it another shot, but I'm not sure if we've seen DJ McKinney play his last game in a Colorado uniform, whether that be the portal or the draft, but I know he's not playing. So I will keep you guys updated the more I know on his future. Colorado's going to have some huge visitors coming this upcoming weekend. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about all of them, and we're just going to dive into how badly they need them because the recruiting class is getting thin. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. I appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you miss the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into the same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team is making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Welcome back to Locked On Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We are part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcasting network in the business. Now, let's talk visitors. Colorado, I mean, the recruiting class, not great, right? You got 10 people. You lose Gavin Mueller. You lose DeMonte Timms. You lose Ruffin earlier in the month. So you've lost 3 of your 12 initial commitments, or 13 commitments, excuse me. And things are looking bleak. So Colorado, as confirmed by 24/7, is hosting a few guys this weekend. Amari, 3-star corner out of Baltimore, currently committed to Penn State. His name's Amali Porter, 6'1". Listen, kind of under the radar guy. Buffalo, East Carolina are after him. This is his, according to 24/7, his first visit to a school that's not Penn State. So with James Franklin no longer in the mix, I think Colorado has a good shot here. For those of you that aren't familiar, St. Francis Academy is basically the IMG. I won't say IMG because I don't know if they have the same amount of resources, but they are the modern day St. John Bosco IMG level program of the North. I think they're in the Northeast of that East Coast, right? They're the best program in Maryland. They're playing Corner Canyon from Utah for the national championship. I think it's this week. Then they're going to go another guy who's committed to Penn State, Terry Wiggins, 4-star linebacker, Pennsylvania native, 120th recruit in the country. Penn State, North Carolina, West Virginia, Cincinnati have all got in on him. Colorado's getting the last visit, at least his last one scheduled for official visits. I mean, you need linebacker help. 6'3", has versatility to play tight end. I don't think he'll play both ways, but he does in high school, which shows his ability to be a versatile athlete, which Colorado needs. According to Hudson Standish at 24/7, quick first step with speed off the edge, primarily wins with speed off the edge at this stage, but has shown plenty of stack and shed capability when matched up against run-heavy offenses. So Colorado needs that, right? They've been getting shoved around all year long by teams who are physical. And obviously when you are a team that struggles with physicality, that's not great. The battle with Coach Prime and Florida State continues. 4-star wide receiver out of Georgia, Devin Carter, is expected to be in town. He has 40 offers almost. He's visited Georgia, visited North Carolina, visited Auburn, and now he's taking a trip to Boulder. I don't know if it's too late for them, but 6 foot. He's an All-American Bowl guy for the Navy Polynesian Bowl, or Navy All-American Bowl, which used to be the Army one, and he's also going to participate in the Polynesian Bowl. Track guy, which we know Coach Prime loves his track guys. 10.95 in the 100 meter, which is very quick. His junior year, 41 catches for 670 yards and 5 touchdowns. Listen, the more weapons, the better. I know everyone's like, oh my gosh, we don't need any more receivers. It's true. You don't need a ton of receivers if you're Colorado, but it doesn't hurt to have depth because you don't know who's going to be around next year. They're going to also host a quarterback, which I think Colorado's going to have to do, probably bring in 2 or 3 quarterbacks this offseason, whether it be recruits or transfers. They're hosting Femi Babalola, who's committed to Boston College, 6'3" out of Brentwood, Tennessee, recruited by Arizona, Maryland, App State. His little recruiting breakdown is he's clean, shoulder high mechanics, has the ability to get the ball out quickly, can throw the ball off platform, can throw some NFL type throws, has above average arm talent, and is a guy who is viewed as having high upside for a quarterback prospect. Also a track and field guy, 11.39 100 meters. So he's quick. He could be a guy that adds to the run game for Colorado. Colorado offered him in September, and they're clearly trying to push for him. You need a future plan behind Julian Lewis, and that could be it. Quite frankly, they're hosting Arkansas corner commit Victor Lincoln, a guy out of Texas. I think you need a lot of DB help. Victor Lincoln is a guy who, anytime you could snag a recruit out of Texas, especially one that has offers from Arkansas, Ole Miss, like he's heavily recruited. Other programs in the Big 12 want him as well. Nebraska wants him, so you can get one over on them. Texas Tech, Vanderbilt, like he is sort of a fringe guy for the SEC, which means a lot of potential there. It's just one of those things where Colorado needs a lot of help. They're going to need to flip quite a few guys, and Coach Prime is known for making some noise down the stretch, and we'll see if this is like his first year on the helm where he flips a handful of guys when people aren't expecting it. So Colorado, they could have a chance to pull off an upset. They have a chance to put the young guys on display, and then they also have a chance to really get some huge commits or make a huge impression on some guys that committed elsewhere. So we'll see how that goes. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. I'll see you guys tomorrow after the game, we'll be going live as we do every week. So make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so you don't miss out, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.